Hello, good people. Here we are for this episode. Welcome to the replay if you are watching this on any of the channels that I'm broadcasting live on right now. Hello, welcome. This is the final episode of the Confident Women Glow podcast. And I decided that instead of just recording this like I usually do, I would just do it live. So, welcome, welcome, welcome. Say hey in the comments if you are watching on the replay. Let me know that you are here. So I'm going to get my notes pulled up. I hope y'all are doing well. I hope your end of year is going okay. So, like I said, welcome. This is the final episode of the Confident Women Glow podcast for 2024. And I'm glad you're here, whether you are listening on your go to podcast player or you are watching this video on YouTube, Facebook, or even Instagram. So, this is the last day of 2024. And I don't know about you, but I have been doing a lot of reflecting, as people do, this time of year. People take time to think about all of the things that they did or did not do and think about all of the things that happened or didn't happen. And I want to share some of those reflections with you because they will impact you. If you are a part of this community, if you are a part of this online audience, some of what I have recognized for myself is going to have an impact on how I show up through the brand. And naturally, that's going to impact you. So for me, I think this year, if I had to add a theme to this year, it was filter. Like I have spent a lot of time filtering through noise, through expectations, through obligations, and even some of my own doubts and the inner narratives that are happening that were in the way of me figuring out what truly mattered for me and for this brand. This was also a year where I think I felt a stronger pull, a stronger urgency, a stronger call to widen the lens on what confidence is. Like this year, I felt a need to talk about the intersections that shape the lives of all of us as we are discovering ourselves and practicing courage and showing up in ways that are authentic to us, all of those things that make up confidence. There are a lot of real considerations that need to be addressed that we can't, I couldn't continue to not talk about. And so I want to share some of the lessons from this year, some of the reflections as I move into building community through this brand in a way that feels supportive for you and is aligned with intention and authenticity. So let's talk about it. So I think 2024 for me felt like a year of being confronted with a lot. Like when Cat Williams opened that portal at the beginning of the year, I don't think anybody imagined everything that would come out of it. Like it was a lot. It was so much information, so much noise, so many opinions, like just so much. And that made it harder to figure out what matters in the moment, what will matter in the coming moments. And that's why I said this year for me was definitely about filtering. Um, what I realized and what I want to share with you is just because something gets handed to you, just because something gets put in your face, just because something gets dropped at your doorstep, you do not have to pick it up. And if you picked it up, you don't have to carry it for the rest of your days. Filtering was all about taking a step back and asking myself three questions. Number one, what is in my control? Number two, what aligns with my values? And number three, what deserves my focus? Because trying to focus on all the things all the time is a recipe for exhaustion, frustration, resentment, burnout. I realized again how freeing it is to focus only on what I can change and let the rest like just roll off me. Because that's not my business. I think I have said more times to my therapist this year than any time in my life. That is not my business. It's not my business. And if you are listening or watching this as somebody who has been for your family, for your circle, for the people in your life, you are the one that has the answer. You are the one that everybody goes to for help. You are the one, the one, the one. Being able to say, that's not my business, child, that is a level of freedom that I wish upon all of you. I wish everybody watching and listening gets to experience that level of freedom, because once you do, you'll never stick your nose in somebody else's stuff again. You will remember what that freedom and that ease feels like, and you will make decisions to keep you in that space. And that is a mindset. It's a setting of your mind, and it's also a practice, meaning it's something that you have to do repeatedly. And it's one that I hope we will carry into 2025 and carry it through the end of the year, because we're going to need it. Another theme for me, like I said, was the urgency, the greater responsibility to expand the conversation about confidence and what it is. Because confidence doesn't exist in one part of you, it doesn't exist in a vacuum. It's shaped by your experiences, your identities, and the systems that you navigate. And so, as women, as she and her, as for me personally, as a Black woman, there are different parts of our lives that add different considerations to how we move. And if you are marginalized, if you have felt othered, if you are in a minority community, like, we can't talk about confidence without talking about those intersections, because those intersections have a real impact on confidence. And so I wrestled with it for a minute. I I I wanted to talk about these things in a different way, talk about confidence in a more expansive way, because those real world considerations have impact on how courageous you can show up, or even what courage looks like in your life from day to day. And we actually did a couple of episodes, an episode called Intersections. We did an episode called What's Confidence? What does confidence have to do with it? Because it was really important to start expanding the conversations and including the the challenges, the issues, the systems that are in place that impact the lives of the people in this audience. We have to talk about them. To pretend they don't exist is not stewardship. To pretend they don't exist is irresponsible for me. And so I started those conversations this year, and we will keep talking about those things. I want to keep weaving those things into the content and into the conversations, because it is going to be helpful to understand how those layers shape confidence, and that understanding becomes fertile soil for building or developing confidence in a way that is authentic and that is sustainable and doesn't feel like something that exists outside of you. Um, this year also reminded me the power of community, because there was a lot that has already happened, and there will be a lot more that will happen in 2025 that will drive people to find spaces where they feel safe and where they feel seen and where they feel encouraged and empowered. And for me, it is important that I show up in through this brand in my personal life in a way that aligns with those values. Um, so one of the things that I started this year was the Masterpiece Life Notes. This is a weekly email that I send out every Sunday. I write the emails personally, and they're they're really written in the moment. What's happening with me that week, and how is what's happening with me that week, how can I turn that into a lesson for all of us? Every email includes a little bit of something, a little bit of background. Every email includes some action steps. Every email includes an affirmation. And that is something that is going to continue, because my focus for 2025 will be to cultivate a community that is knit together in strength, that is woven together in courage, that is meaningful, because we are going to need it. I truly believe we're going to need it in 2025. And I think now I look forward to writing the Masterpiece Life Notes. I look forward to it because it's giving me an opportunity to talk about more of me, to share more of myself, but also to be intentional about, okay, we've talked about this, and so now what next? I used to have a teacher when I was in language school, when I was in Army. I'm laughing because I could hear a voice in my head right now. We would be in conversation, speaking practice, speaking in our language, and we would have to say a soliloquy in our language, and our teacher, after we were done, if we didn't complete the thought, she would say, and then, and just stare at you like, what is the rest? And so I think about, sure, yes, for years, we have had conversations about confidence and empowerment and affirmation and all of those things. And now for me, it's, and then what is next? So that's why for me, with even if you haven't purchased the Inner Strength Journal, you're not a member of Glow Circle, you can still get a solution for where you are right now in the Masterpiece Life Note. And that is something that is free, and that is something that gets sent out once a week. So it still can help you, one, I kind of identify or give language to what you might be experiencing, and then gives you action steps and an affirmation for going forward. I think that's definitely a win. The fact that the podcast came back, I took a long break because of the move, and I realized I was in an interrupted grief cycle. Like, I still had grief to process. It was a lot. I keep saying it was a lot, y'all. It was a lot. And so the podcast came back, and that's been exciting, just to look at the numbers and to see how y'all are resonating with these episodes. That's a win. We also launched the monthly group coaching sessions in Glow Circle. The first Saturday of every month, I do a live group coaching session. Members can submit topics that they want to discuss, and I usually will teach a something. It's a live session. People can ask questions live, If nobody wants to ask questions, they could submit their things in the form ahead of time, um, or whatever. It's whatever we need that time to be, and that has been a rewarding and fun. It's been fun. I am finding the fun again and adding intention to it. Um, I think this year taught me too that progress doesn't always have to be loud to have meaning. It can be a tiny, mighty, meaningful step. Every step forward counts. And so as we close the book, turn the page, whatever euphemism you want to use for the end of one year and the transition into another, I want to leave you with this. Going back to what I said, the kind of the core theme for my year has been filter. Filter what does not support you so you can focus on what matters. Be intentional about building or even participating in the community that you know you need and you want to have so you can thrive. Because here's the thing, y'all, the masterpiece life that you want is available. It's available to capture it, to step into it, to see it manifest. You have to be an active participant in creating it in your life. And even if you haven't done a big, fantastical thing this year, but you took a silent, intentional, you made a silent choice, you took an intentional step, you did a small thing, I want you to give yourself a pat on the back. Be proud of yourself for how you have shown up for yourself this year. Even if it's just listening to a podcast like this one, just so the words can marinate in your heart and mind as you go through your week. That still deserves to be acknowledged. So I want to thank you for being a part of this journey with me this year. I am looking forward to seeing all the beautiful things that 2025 will bring us. The the bullshit and the raggedy stuff that 2025 is going to try to bring, we're rejecting that. We're not accepting that. It's going to be returned to sender. We're filtering those things out and we are focusing on what matters, what aligns, what supports, what empowers. I want this year, this coming year, to be one of courage, connection, and confidence. Thank you all so much for being a part of this community. Thank you for listening, and I'll catch you later. Bye.